This show is one part nerd, one part cooking. It's my journey to combine my culinary background with games, comics, pop culture, and more. My name is Spencer, and this is Geek vs. Food.
Here you go, the usual. 1 turkey, strawberry jam, and cereal sandwich.
Sounds like the sinner's sandwich. Self-inflicted punishment to atone for past sins. He's setting an example.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Geek vs. Food, where today, in honor of the release of Deadly Premonition 2, we're taking a look at the sinner's sandwich from the first Deadly Premonition game. A sandwich described by York as a self-inflicted punishment, featuring turkey, strawberry jam, and breakfast cereal. Much to York's surprise, he finds the sandwich delicious, and orders one for himself. And if it's good enough for York, it should be good enough for us. So let's get started. We're going to start with a turkey cutlet, something small and thin that will grill up nicely and fit on a sandwich. Start by seasoning the cutlet on both sides with salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, and sage. Let that sit while we prep our pan. To a medium-sized frying pan, we are going to add a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil and tilt to cover the pan. Heat the oil over medium-high heat until it's shimmering before adding the cutlet. Let that cook for about 2 minutes per side, flipping once the cutlet is cooked halfway through. Once cooked, remove the turkey and reserve while we prep the sandwich. For our bread, I'm going with the classic white bread. I thought it best fit what you'd be served at a diner. On each slice of bread, we're going to spread a healthy dollop of strawberry jam. Spread that out evenly before moving on to the third and final ingredient, the breakfast cereal. Take a big handful of the cereal and sprinkle it over the jam on each slice of bread. Give it a press to help it stick to the jam before laying our turkey cutlet atop the cereal and topping it with the other slice. Cut the sandwich in half diagonally and plate it up. Now, let's give this thing a try. I'm expecting the worst, but it's actually not bad. The sweetness of the jam balances nicely with the saltiness of the turkey, and the cereal gives a nice crunch, but it feels like it's missing something. When I think of sinners, I think of hellfire. I want something hot, something spicy. In the words of Babish, we can do better. So let's get to work. The first step in making our improved sinner sandwich is making the jam from scratch. Since I wanted some heat, I'm going to be making a strawberry jalapeno jam. To the bowl of a food processor, we are going to add about 2 pounds of strawberries. Pulse that to puree before adding the jalapenos. I'm adding 3 large ones, which here equated to about roughly half a cup. If you want a little less spice, you can go ahead and de-seed them, but I wanted the heat, so I just tossed them in whole. Give the food processor another few pulses to combine the jalapenos before transferring the mixture to a large pot. To the fruit pepper mixture, we're going to add about 1/4 a cup of apple juice for a bit of acidity, about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce for some tang and savoriness, and about 30 grams of fruit pectin. Give that a good mix to combine and turn the heat onto medium. It was here I realized that the footage was blurry. Thanks, Zach. I also decided I wanted another level of heat, so I added a tablespoon of chipotle Tabasco sauce for a smoky heat. I gave that another stir and continued to simmer the mixture. Once the mixture is good and bubbling, we're going to add our sugar. 3.5 cups of it to be precise. Now that may seem like a lot of sugar, but getting the amount of sugar to pectin correct is essential for the jam gelling up and setting properly. So go ahead and add the sugar and give it a nice mix to evenly combine everything. Once the sugar is fully dissolved, return the mixture to a full boil and let boil for 1 minute. Once that minute has passed, we're going to go ahead and fill our cleaned and sterilized mason jars with the jam mixture until just nearly full and screw on the lid. Let that sit upside down to cool until you can safely handle the jar. Cooling it upside down will help form the vacuum seal on the mason lid. Once cooled to room temperature, move the jam to your fridge and let sit for at least 48 hours or until it's set and thickened. Next, on our Hellfire Sinner sandwich journey, we're going to make a spread for the bread. To a small dish, combined 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 cup of dill pickles, chopped, and 2 tablespoons of hot sauce. I really like Crystal, but feel free to use whatever your favorite is. Next, we're going to take a turkey cutlet and cut it in half. We're going to want small pieces because for our version, we're making sliders. Place these pieces of turkey between 2 sheets of plastic wrap and pound thin. This will help with even browning and cooking. Let's go ahead and set up our breading station. That's right, we're going to be making spicy turkey katsu. In bowl 1, we're going to combine half a cup of flour and a crap ton of cayenne. I used about 3 or 4 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Mix that to combine before moving on to bowl number 2. To this bowl, we are going to add 1 egg and 1/4 a cup of hot sauce. That's right, there's going to be layers of heat in this bad boy. Whisk to combine the egg and hot sauce before moving on to our final bowl. Typically in katsu, you would use panko breadcrumbs, but I wanted a way to incorporate the breakfast cereal into this version, so we'll be using it in panko's place. Fill a Ziploc bag with the cereal and crush it up to medium-sized bits, about the same size panko would be. Transfer that to a bowl, and we're ready to rock. Step 1 involves dredging the cutlet in the flour mixture. Make sure both sides are covered completely and evenly. Shake off any excess before transferring to the egg wash. Again, making sure that both sides are covered evenly. Finally, we are going to drop the eggy cutlet into the cereal crumbs. Press down to make sure the cutlet is coated in the crumbs before setting on a plate and doing the same with the remaining cutlet. Once everything is breaded, we're ready to fry. In a medium-sized pan, add enough oil to fill it at least half an inch deep. Heat the oil over a medium-high heat until the oil is shimmering. Once the oil is nice and hot, we can go ahead and add our breaded cutlets. Cook them for about 2 minutes, or until the bottom is nice and golden. It might look dark here, but don't worry, they're not burnt, that's just the cayenne making it appear darker than it really is. Flip them over and cook the other side for an additional minute or 2, before transferring to a wire rack to drain and cool, while we prep our buns for assembly. I elected to use Hawaiian rolls, because they're both the perfect size, and felt the slight sweetness of them would balance the spicy katsu nicely. So go ahead and carefully cut your rolls in half horizontally. Don't do it like I did, that's a good way to cut yourself if you're not experienced. To the bottom of each bun, we are going to add a spoonful of the spicy mayo we made earlier. To the top of each bun, we are going to add a spoonful of our homemade strawberry jalapeno jam. Finally, we can add our turkey katsu on top of the mayoed bottom before topping it off with the jammy top bun. Next, take a couple shots for the gram, you know that's important, before giving the long-awaited taste test. And I have to say, these sliders were awesome. Just listen to that crunch. The heat level was perfect. This is what I want when I think of a center sandwich. Hellfire. Spicy and peppery, but not too overpowering. At least not for me. Hey Zach, you have got to try these.